Tonight, we embark on a journey through time and imagination, where the ancient myths of the world meet the quiet truths of science. As you settle in, close your eyes and allow your thoughts to drift back to distant lands, where stories were told beneath the stars and the world was seen through the soft, glowing lens of wonder. Here, in the quiet embrace of night, we'll explore how the myths of old may have been shaped by the world itself, their wisdom often more grounded in nature than we might realize. With each soft breath, let the weight of the day slip away and let yourself drift into a world where the lines between myth and reality blur in the softest of ways. In the ancient stories, the phoenix rises from the ashes, its vibrant feathers gleaming like fire, its wings carrying it higher and higher into the sky. This mythical bird, reborn from its own destruction, is a symbol of immortality, of the cycle of life and death, and of renewal. But as we drift into the realms of science, we find that this myth may hold a kernel of truth. The phoenix's rebirth mirrors the natural cycles of life on Earth, where energy transforms, never truly disappearing but always changing form. For instance, consider the fire itself. When a fire burns, it consumes fuel, but it also transforms the fuel into new elements. The ash left behind, though it appears to be the remnants of destruction, actually contains nutrients that will help new life grow. Forests rely on fire to clear old growth, making space for fresh, vibrant life to take root. In this way, the phoenix, in its silent, symbolic flight, mirrors the very principles of nature itself. The science of cycles, of life and death, creation and destruction, is as much a part of the natural world as the stories told by ancient cultures. The phoenix may not fly in our skies, but its message remains clear. From endings come new beginnings, and in this we find the pulse of the universe, steady and eternal. As the soft light of the evening fades into darkness, let this reflection settle into your mind. The world, in its quiet and cyclical wisdom, is always renewing itself, just as the phoenix renews its wings with each rebirth. Take comfort in this gentle truth, that endings are merely the spaces for new beginnings, soft and slow. Now, imagine the vast, endless sky above you. It stretches out like a soft, dark blanket, dotted with countless stars, each one burning with quiet, ancient light. The Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, each looked up to these stars and saw in them the gods and goddesses of their pantheon. They saw Orion as the great hunter, the constellations as living figures in the sky, their movements telling stories of destiny and power. But science, in its own gentle way, invites us to look at these stars as distant suns, burning bright but unimaginably far away. Some of the stars we see tonight may no longer even exist, their light travelling across the great expanse of time to reach us, echoing a beauty that is both ancient and eternal. It is said that the constellations were born from the imagination of those who looked up and saw patterns, a bear, a hunter, a scorpion, in the random placement of stars. This human need to connect dots and tell stories remains a beautiful part of our nature. Science, too, connects dots. Constellations are not only myths, but markers of our place in the universe, guiding sailors across the seas and scientists toward new discoveries. The stars above, like the ancient gods, offer us a reflection of our own need to find meaning in the vastness of the world around us. We create stories to anchor ourselves to the unknown, to understand the impossible. And just like the ancient storytellers, we look to the heavens with quiet awe, finding connection in the spaces between the stars. As the night sky whispers its secrets to us, let the silence settle deep within. There is a quiet wisdom in these stars, in their steadfast presence, their stories unfolding in the slow passage of time. We are, all of us, a part of this greater story, soft and slow, moving through the cosmos in gentle harmony. In many cultures there is a myth of a great flood, an overwhelming tide that swept over the land, leaving behind only the brave and the chosen. Noah's Ark, the story of Gilgamesh, the flood of Deucalion, all these stories share a common thread, a massive flood that reshapes the earth, bringing with it a new beginning. Now, in the quiet shadows of science, we find that such floods are not mere myth. Over thousands of years, the earth has experienced rising waters, shifting coastlines, and catastrophic deluges. Some scientists believe that these myths may have been inspired by real events, such as the flooding of the Black Sea or the melting of glaciers at the end of the last ice age. These events would have been so vast, so overwhelming, that they could easily have been passed down as the stories of a great flood. The flood myths then carry with them a soft message: change is inevitable. The earth is ever shifting, and just as the waters rise, so too do they recede, leaving behind the fertile ground for new growth. These myths remind us that nothing stays the same forever. The earth, with all its mysteries and rhythms, moves in cycles we may never fully understand, but we can find peace in their quiet, gentle unfolding. With this thought, feel the weight of the night settle gently upon you. The earth beneath you is ancient, its waters have risen and fallen countless times, yet here, in this moment, you are safe. Just as the myths of old speak to the flow of time, so too can we rest in the quiet knowledge that all things pass in their own time, softly and slowly. Close your eyes now and imagine a vast, boundless ocean stretching out before you. The waters are calm, a glassy surface stretching to the horizon, but beneath this stillness, something stirs. In the mythologies of many ancient cultures, there is a story of the churning of the ocean, a great stirring of the waters that brings forth treasures, gods, and divine wisdom. The Hindu myth of the churning of the ocean of milk speaks of gods and demons, both pulling on a great serpent to stir the ocean and bring forth the elixir of immortality. The act of churning in this myth is one of great tension, but it is also one that promises renewal and great gifts. In a scientific sense, the idea of churning, of stirring the ocean, can be seen in the way the Earth's oceans are constantly in motion, driven by the winds and the movement of tectonic plates. Under the surface, powerful currents churn the water, circulating nutrients and keeping the ecosystems in balance. In many ways, the ocean itself is like an ancient living entity, churning and renewing itself constantly. Just as the ocean churns beneath the calm surface, so too do the cycles of nature move quietly, renewing and reshaping the world in subtle, unseen ways. There is no great drama to it, only quiet, ongoing change that leads to something new and vital. And in this steady motion, we find the treasures of the earth, the abundant life in the sea, the fertile lands that rise after a flood, the wisdom of ages passed down. As you breathe in, feel the vastness of the ocean within you, the stillness and the hidden currents, the depth of time that churns quietly beneath the surface. Like the myth of the churning ocean, there is a quiet magic in change, in the unseen forces that shape our world. Allow yourself to rest in the calm certainty of it all, knowing that life, like the ocean, will continue to renew itself. Now, Picture the beginning of all things, a vast emptiness, a space between worlds, quiet and still. In many ancient cultures, the creation of the world begins with an egg, a symbol of the universe yet to be born. The cosmic egg, floating in the stillness of space, holds within it the potential for everything that is yet to come. In ancient Chinese mythology, the universe began as a cosmic egg, from which the first being, Pangu, emerged. He then separated the heavens from the earth, shaping the world with his giant axe. The egg is a symbol of potential, of something fragile and full of possibility, and from it, the world slowly began to take form. Science, in its quiet way, tells us a similar story about the beginning of the universe, the Big Bang. From a single point of unimaginable density and heat, the universe expanded and began to take shape, slowly cooling to form stars, galaxies, and the planets. In this way, the cosmic egg mirrors the scientific story of creation, where from a singular, dense origin, all things emerge. The quiet imagery of the cosmic egg, whether in myth or in science, invites us to reflect on the mystery of beginnings. From the smallest seed, the quietest thought, the gentlest breath, great things can grow. The universe, in its soft unfolding, is both ancient and new, timeless and ever-changing, just as the egg holds the potential for both life and creation. Feel the warmth of this creation within you, the quiet pulse of the universe, a gentle rhythm that has been in motion since the beginning of time. From the egg, from that first moment of potential, all things were born, and so, too, you are part of this soft unfolding, a piece of the same mystery that binds all life together. Now, let your thoughts wander to the serpent, a creature found in the myths of cultures all around the world. In the ancient stories, the serpent often represents both creation and destruction, wisdom and danger. The Egyptians spoke of the serpent goddess Wadjet, who protected the land, while in the Bible, the serpent symbolizes temptation and change. In many myths, serpents are often associated with the earth itself. In the Native American myths of the Hopi people, the serpent is linked to the underworld, where it moves through the earth, carrying water and nourishing the soil. The snake is both a destroyer and a healer, a symbol of the earth's quiet, sometimes unseen power. In the world of science, we understand the serpent's connection to the earth through the idea of the earthworm, an unassuming creature that lives beneath the soil, silently moving through the earth, breaking it down, enriching it, and making it fertile. Earthworms are often called nature's serpents, for their ability to transform the land, making it ready for new growth. This quiet power of the serpent, both feared and revered, is mirrored in the soft movements of nature that take place beneath the surface, hidden, slow, but deeply powerful. The earth itself, like the serpent, holds within it the secrets of life, death, and renewal. Its quiet, unseen work nurtures the world in ways we may never fully understand. Let this thought settle gently within you. The serpent's slow movement beneath the earth is a reminder that much of life's work happens quietly, in the spaces we cannot see, the rhythms we cannot hear. And yet, this work is essential, for from the unseen comes the growth, the change, the rebirth. Now, imagine the golden fleece, a symbol of wealth, of power, and of great quests. In Greek mythology, Jason and the Argonauts embarked on a long, perilous journey to obtain the golden fleece, an object of great value that could bring them unimaginable riches. The fleece, draped across a sacred tree, was guarded by fierce creatures and gods. In a scientific sense, the golden fleece could symbolize the natural world's treasures, those things that are hidden from us, yet essential for our survival. Gold itself is a rare and precious metal, but the true golden fleece might be the natural resources of the earth, minerals, plants, and creatures that we're only beginning to understand. The quest for the golden fleece reminds us that the world is full of treasures hidden just beneath the surface. Some of these treasures, like gold, are material. Others, like the healing properties of plants or the quiet wisdom of nature, are more subtle. The myths that speak of great journeys are really stories of discovery, of learning to see the world with new eyes. Breathe deeply and let the idea of this quest settle into your mind. Perhaps, like Jason and his crew, we're all on a journey of discovery, seeking the golden treasures hidden within our own lives. Whether these treasures are material or spiritual, they are there, waiting for us to find them in the quiet spaces between the stories we tell. Now, let your thoughts turn to sleep itself, the gentle realm where our minds wander, where the world of dreams offers a quiet respite from the day's concerns. In Greek mythology, Hypnos is the god of sleep. He is a peaceful figure whose gentle touch would guide even the gods into slumber. The science of sleep tells us that it is during sleep that our bodies and minds do their deepest work. It is when we rest that the body repairs itself, when memories are formed, and when the brain processes the events of the day. Sleep, like the touch of Hypnos, is a gift, quiet and gentle, yet essential to our well-being. Just as Hypnos brought rest to the gods, so too does sleep bring rest to us. It is a time of renewal, of restoring balance, a time when the world outside slows and we're allowed to drift in peace. As you breathe deeply, allow the soft embrace of sleep to pull you deeper into rest. There is no need for any hurry, no need to fight the natural rhythm of the night. Just as Hypnos gently guides all into slumber, allow yourself to be carried on the soft current of sleep's embrace. Picture, if you will, the quiet shift of the seasons. The leaves on the trees begin to turn golden, then fall to the ground, leaving behind the bare branches that reach toward the sky. The air grows cool, and the earth seems to settle into a peaceful slumber, awaiting the warmth of spring. This rhythm, the soft, cyclical dance of nature, was captured in the ancient myth of Persephone. In Greek mythology, Persephone was the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest. When Persephone was taken to the underworld by Hades, Demeter grieved, and as a result the earth fell into winter. But when Persephone returned in the spring, her mother's joy brought forth new life, and the earth bloomed once again. This myth reflects the very real rhythms of the seasons. In a scientific sense, the changing of the seasons is due to the tilt of the earth on its axis, which causes different parts of the world to receive varying amounts of sunlight throughout the year. As the earth moves around the sun, the northern hemisphere leans toward the sun in the summer and away from it in the winter, creating the seasonal shifts. Just as Persephone's return brings joy to the earth and life to her mother, so too does the earth shift between seasons in a slow, unhurried cycle. The winter's stillness and the spring's renewal are part of an eternal dance, a cycle that continues in gentle harmony. Let the changing of the seasons wash over you like a soft breeze. There is no hurry, no need to rush through time. The world shifts in its own steady rhythm, each season bringing its own quiet blessings. Allow yourself to rest in the certainty that, like Persephone, you too are a part of these quiet cycles, always returning, always renewing. Now, imagine a labyrinth, its walls tall and twisting, an intricate maze of stone that seems to go on forever. Within its depths lies the Minotaur, a fearsome creature that dwells in the shadows, waiting to confront any who dare to enter. The myth of the labyrinth, where Theseus must navigate the maze to slay the Minotaur, speaks of the journey into the unknown, the fear that lurks in the dark corners, and the courage it takes to find your way through. Scientifically, this myth mirrors the journey of the human mind, navigating the labyrinths of our own thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Our brains, like the labyrinth, are complex and full of twists and turns. The Minotaur, in this sense, could represent the challenges, the obstacles, and the fears we face within ourselves. Modern neuroscience tells us that the brain is a complex network, with billions of neurons connecting in intricate patterns. Every decision, every thought, is a pathway we navigate, some simple and some more tangled. Just as Theseus must find his way through the labyrinth, so too do we, every day. Find our path through the maze of our own consciousness. The key to navigating these mazes is not to fear the Minotaur, but to trust in our own ability to find our way, to move through the twists and turns with patience and wisdom. And much like the yarn that helped Theseus find his way out, our understanding, our learning, guides us through the labyrinth, leading us toward clarity. Feel the quiet comfort in knowing that even the most complicated paths we walk are just part of the journey. With every step you take, there is growth, there is understanding, and like Theseus, you will find your way through the maze. Allow this peaceful reflection to guide you, knowing that every twist is part of a larger, beautiful whole. Now imagine a vast, endless battle fought between gods and titans, between light and darkness, between chaos and order. In the ancient myths, these battles were fought on grand scales, great wars that shaped the very fabric of the universe. In the Norse tradition, the gods of Asgard fought against the giants in a battle that was said to eventually bring about Ragnarok, the end of the world as they knew it, followed by its rebirth. In science, we also find echoes of this cosmic struggle, not in the form of gods clashing, but in the forces of creation and destruction that are constantly at work in the universe. Stars are born in fiery nebulas, only to live out their lives in explosions of light before collapsing into black holes. Galaxies collide and merge, shaping the cosmos in ways we are still only beginning to understand. Just as the gods fought in myth to bring order to chaos, so too do the forces of the universe constantly seek balance. In the end, the battles of the cosmos are not truly destructive, they are transformative. From the death of stars, new elements are forged, and from the end of one era, a new one begins. Feel the peace that comes with this quiet understanding. Even in destruction, there is creation. Just as the myths tell of cycles, of battles fought and worlds reborn, so too does the universe move in a never-ending cycle of renewal, soft and steady. Embrace the quiet rhythm of this eternal dance. Now, imagine a quiet figure, Prometheus, bringing fire to humankind, a gift that would change the course of history. In Greek mythology, Prometheus, defying the will of Zeus, steals fire from the gods and gives it to humanity, thus sparking the beginning of civilization. His gift is one of light and warmth, of knowledge and progress. In a scientific sense, the gift of fire was indeed a turning point for early humans. The control of fire allowed our ancestors to cook food, stay warm, and protect themselves from the elements. It was perhaps the first tool that separated us from the animals, allowing us to begin shaping the world in new ways. The myth of Prometheus also speaks to the power of knowledge and the willingness to challenge authority in pursuit of truth. Science, too, is an ongoing journey of discovery, where the pursuit of knowledge often involves stepping into the unknown and defying established norms. Just as Prometheus gave humanity fire, science continues to illuminate the world, offering new insights and possibilities with each discovery. Picture now the figure of Hercules, strong and resolute, standing before a seemingly impossible task. The 12 labours of Hercules were feats of strength and courage, each more difficult than the last. Yet through perseverance and determination, Hercules completed them all, proving that even the most impossible challenges can be overcome. In the world of science, we understand that challenges are a natural part of the human experience. Our minds and bodies are capable of incredible feats of endurance, much like Hercules. The science of physical and mental resilience reveals that the human body can adapt to stress, grow stronger through adversity, and rise to meet even the toughest challenges. Each labour, each task can be seen as a metaphor for the obstacles we all face in our lives. Just as Hercules faced his trials with unwavering strength, so too do we face our own challenges with patience, resilience, and quiet resolve. And though the labours may seem daunting, we find that within ourselves lies the strength to overcome them, one step at a time. Feel the quiet strength within you. Like Hercules standing tall before his labours, there is nothing that cannot be met with patience, with understanding, and with the gentle power of perseverance. Allow this thought to ease your mind, knowing that, like the heroes of myth, you too have the strength to face the world's challenges. Now imagine Icarus soaring high above the earth, his wings made of feathers and wax. He climbs higher and higher toward the sun, feeling the wind beneath his wings, the thrill of flight in his chest. But as he nears the sun, the heat melts his wings and he falls back to the earth. The myth of Icarus speaks of the danger of overreaching, of flying too close to the sun, of striving for something that may be just beyond our grasp. In the world of science, the myth of Icarus can be seen as a cautionary tale about the limits of human ambition. While science and technology have allowed us to achieve incredible feats, reaching the moon, exploring the depths of the oceans, there are still boundaries that remind us of our fragility. The sun, a blazing ball of energy, represents the infinite power of the universe, a power that we can never fully harness or control. Yet, just as Icarus flew toward the sun with hope and ambition, so too do we reach for the stars, driven by curiosity and the desire to understand. It is in this reaching, in this pursuit of knowledge, that we find our purpose. And though we may never fly as high as we dream, each step we take brings us closer to understanding the world around us. Let this thought settle softly within you. Like Icarus, we are all reaching for something greater, something beyond our grasp. But in each attempt, in each flight, there is growth, there is learning, and there is beauty in the journey. Allow this quiet reflection to ease you into rest, knowing that the pursuit itself is a gift. Now, let your mind wander to the mysterious figure of the Sphinx, the guardian of ancient Egypt, seated quietly at the edge of the vast desert. With the sun casting long shadows, the Sphinx gazes into the distance, as if holding secrets too profound for mere words. She's both riddle and guardian, her stoic presence daring the curious to seek knowledge. The riddle of the Sphinx is perhaps one of the most famous puzzles in mythology. She asks, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? This riddle is not just a test of intellect, but a metaphor for the journey of life itself. The answer, of course, is a human being, crawling as a baby, walking on 2 legs as an adult, and using a cane in old age. It is a riddle that symbolizes the progression of time, the stages of life, and the inevitable changes we all undergo. In a scientific sense, this riddle beautifully mirrors the biological progression of a human being. From birth, we're completely dependent on our caregivers, crawling on all fours. Then, as we grow and develop, we find our balance and strength, walking upright, using our two legs to navigate the world. In our later years, as our bodies age, we often find ourselves once again relying on something, whether a cane or a loved one, to help us stand tall, just as the Sphinx's riddle suggests. But beyond the riddle itself, the Sphinx is a symbol of the mysteries of life and time, standing in the desert as an eternal reminder that there are puzzles and patterns beyond our immediate understanding. Just as the Sphinx is silent and unmoving, so too is time, unyielding and constant. The riddle of life, its meaning, its purpose, remains hidden until we are ready to see it, until we have lived long enough to fully understand its depth. The progression through the stages of life is not a straight path, but a circle, one that repeats with each generation, each individual, and as we grow, we may come to realize that the riddle itself is not just a question to be answered, but a map, a guide that leads us deeper into understanding who we are, where we've come from, and where we are going. The wisdom of the Sphinx, then, is not just in the answer to the riddle, but in the journey of uncovering it, one step, one breath at a time. As you reflect on this, let the gentle unfolding of life sink into your thoughts. Life is not something to rush through, nor is it a challenge to be solved. It is a quiet journey, a riddle that answers itself in time, with patience and reflection. Feel the peace in knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, unfolding into your own answers, one quiet moment at a time. In the quiet corners of Greek mythology, there is the story of Medusa, a woman transformed by the gods into a creature both feared and misunderstood. Medusa, once a beautiful maiden, was cursed by Athena, turned into a monster whose gaze could turn anyone to stone. She lived in isolation, far from the world, her hair turned to writhing serpents, and her eyes held a power she could neither control nor escape. Medusa's story is often told as one of tragedy, of transformation and punishment. Yet there is more to the myth than meets the eye. Medusa represents the terrifying, but also the powerful aspects of transformation. Her transformation is not just physical, it is a reflection of how trauma, rejection, and the experiences of life can alter the course of a person's journey. Medusa's power, born of pain, was both a gift and a curse. It is a reminder that transformation is never a simple thing. It can be both beautiful and painful, terrifying and liberating. In the world of science, transformation is a concept we understand deeply. In nature, we witness countless transformations, from the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly to the way plants change as they grow. The idea of metamorphosis is a fundamental part of life, a natural cycle that occurs over and over again in the animal kingdom. But transformation is not always gentle. It is sometimes painful, sometimes necessary for survival. Medusa's transformation parallels the process of change we all experience, particularly the ways in which we are shaped by our environment, by our pain, and by the forces around us. Just as a caterpillar must shed its skin to become something new, so too must we sometimes shed parts of ourselves, old beliefs, past experiences, outdated ways of thinking, in order to grow. But like Medusa, we're not always in control of these changes. The forces that shape us can sometimes feel like they come from outside ourselves, powerful and overwhelming. Yet there is also power in transformation. The myth of Medusa teaches us that we can embrace change, even when it feels like it has come through hardship. In science, we know that change leads to growth. It is through transformation, whether in nature or in ourselves, that new opportunities emerge, new ways of seeing the world. Medusa's serpents, her gaze that could turn others to stone, were not weaknesses, but the raw power of change. As you reflect on this transformation, consider the ways in which you have changed over time. Each stage, each shift has shaped you into the person you are now, and each one will continue to shape you in the future. Feel the quiet strength that comes with this knowledge, that transformation is not just something that happens to us, but something we can embrace, something that makes us whole. Imagine, if you will, the grand city of Troy, its walls towering and impenetrable. The Trojans had fought long and hard, certain that they had secured their victory against the invading Greeks. But then came the Trojan horse, a magnificent wooden statue, hollowed out to conceal Greek warriors inside. The Trojans, deceived by the appearance of a gift, welcomed the horse into their city, unknowingly inviting their enemies into their midst. The Trojan horse is one of the most famous myths in history, symbolizing the danger of deceptive appearances and the consequences of trust misplaced. The Greeks, with their cunning minds, used the Trojan horse to infiltrate the city and, ultimately, win the war. The myth serves as a reminder that not everything is as it seems, that beneath the surface of things may lie something far more dangerous. In the world of science, deceptive appearances are often revealed through careful observation and experimentation. What seems to be one thing may, in fact, be something entirely different. This is especially true in the natural world, where organisms often use camouflage, mimicry, and deception as survival strategies. The octopus, for example, can change the colour and texture of its skin to blend into its surroundings, making it nearly invisible to predators and prey alike. In nature, deception is a tool, a way of surviving and thriving. The Trojan horse myth teaches us the importance of looking beyond the surface, of questioning the stories we are told and the appearances we encounter. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest dangers come from the things that seem most innocuous, and that true wisdom comes from understanding what lies beneath the surface. Just as the Trojans were fooled by the horse, so too can we be deceived by the things we want to believe. The world is full of illusions, of things that seem too good to be true, and it is our job to see through them. Science too encourages us to question, to look deeper, to understand the world beyond its surface. As you reflect on this myth, think of the ways in which you too have encountered deception in your own life. What things have you seen as truths, only to discover later that they were not as they seemed? There is wisdom in seeing through these illusions, in learning to look deeper, in trusting only what is revealed through careful observation and quiet understanding. In the world of Greek mythology, there is a story of a golden apple, a beautiful shining fruit inscribed with the words, "For the fairest." This apple was presented by Eris, the goddess of discord, to the gods, and it sparked a quarrel among them. Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite each believed themselves worthy of the apple, leading to a contest of beauty that ultimately resulted in the Trojan War. The golden apple, then, is not just a symbol of beauty, but of desire, envy, and the powerful forces that drive us. The golden apple represents the things we yearn for, the desires that often seem so perfect and unattainable. In many ways, desire is what propels us forward in life. It is the force that drives us to achieve, to strive for more, to seek out beauty, success, and happiness. But as the myth shows us, the pursuit of desire can lead to chaos. The god's desire for the apple created conflict, war, and suffering. In science, we know that desire is deeply rooted in our biology. Our brains are wired to seek out pleasure, to crave the things that make us feel good or satisfied. Dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, plays a key role in this process, signaling to us when we've achieved something or found something rewarding. Desire, then, is both a biological and psychological force, one that has shaped human behavior for millennia. Yet, just as the golden apple led to conflict, so too can unchecked desire cause imbalance in our lives. The pursuit of pleasure and success can sometimes cloud our judgment, leading us down paths that cause harm to ourselves or others. The myth teaches us that desire, while natural, must be tempered with wisdom. As you reflect on the golden apple, think about the desires that shape your own life. What are the things you long for, the things that pull you forward? And how can you find balance between desire and wisdom, between seeking and being content? Allow these thoughts to settle gently within you, like the quiet ebb and flow of the tides. Now, imagine yourself on a ship, sailing across a calm, endless sea. The sun rests lazily on the horizon, casting soft golden hues over the water. The wind carries the scent of salt and seaweed, and the gentle sway of the boat rocks you into a peaceful rhythm. Everything feels serene, calm, as if you could sail forever, leaving behind the worries of the world. But then you hear it, the faintest sound, a melody, almost imperceptible at first, carried by the wind. As the sound grows louder, it becomes clear. It is a song, a hauntingly beautiful, irresistible song. The melody weaves through the air, soft yet compelling, like a whisper from another world. The longer you listen, the stronger the pull becomes, as if the very essence of the song is drawing you closer. It is the call of the sirens, the mythological creatures who lured sailors to their doom with their enchanting voices. The sirens, in their tragic beauty, symbolize temptation. They represent the things in life that appear to promise fulfillment or joy, yet lead to harm. In ancient Greek mythology, Odysseus encountered the sirens during his long journey home in the Odyssey. Their voices promised him peace, knowledge, and fulfillment, but they led only to peril, pulling ships into jagged rocks and swift currents. The siren's song, though sweet, was a deceiving promise that led only to disaster. In the myth, Odysseus was forewarned of the danger by the sorceress Circe, and he devised a clever plan to resist the siren's call. He ordered his men to fill their ears with wax so they could not hear the song. As for himself, he had himself bound to the mast of the ship, powerless to act on his desire to follow the music. This way he could hear the melody without being overwhelmed by it, safely passing through the danger. In the world of science, we understand that the siren's song is a metaphor for the way our brains respond to temptation. The human brain is wired to seek out immediate rewards, things that give us pleasure or satisfy our desires. This is part of our biology, a product of evolutionary survival mechanisms. Dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, plays a key role in this process. It signals to us when something pleasurable is within reach, when we should act to pursue a reward. This system, while essential for survival, can also lead us astray, pulling us toward temptations that may not be in our best long-term interest. Whether it's the lure of instant gratification, the pull of unhealthy habits, or the pursuit of something that promises happiness but causes harm, temptation often speaks with the same sweet, persuasive voice as the sirens. It can feel as though the world is offering us something too good to resist, something that promises satisfaction and fulfillment, yet leads only to regret. In modern times, we face temptations every day. Advertisements, social media, food, substances, all calling us toward fleeting pleasures, but often leaving us feeling emptier once we give in. Like Odysseus, we're often faced with choices that are difficult to resist. The trick, then, is not to banish desire entirely, but to recognize it, to understand the power it holds, and to make conscious decisions about how to engage with it. By learning to listen to the call without surrendering to it, we too can navigate the dangerous waters of temptation. This story of Odysseus teaches us that we have the power to set boundaries, to create systems that help us resist the pull of desires that ultimately do not serve us. But resistance is not always easy. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and sometimes external support. Just as Odysseus relied on his men to block their ears, we too may need the help of others, friends, family, or even the tools and strategies we have at our disposal to protect ourselves from temptation. It also requires patience, understanding that the fleeting pull of immediate desire is often only a momentary thing, and that true fulfillment comes in quieter, deeper ways. As you reflect on the sirens, let the lesson settle softly within you. What are the temptations that call to you in your own life? The promises of quick satisfaction, the fleeting moments that distract you from your deeper goals? How can you, like Odysseus, create boundaries that allow you to pass through temptation without being drawn into its peril? There is strength in recognizing that not all that glitters is gold, that the things that seem the most appealing are sometimes the most dangerous. Take a deep, steady breath and remember that the melody of desire is only a momentary note in the greater symphony of your life. Now, picture a city, magnificent beyond imagination, a city of golden towers, gleaming palaces, and magnificent temples dedicated to the gods. Atlantis, the lost city, was said to be a civilization so advanced, so perfect, that it could bend the very forces of nature to its will. Its people were wise, their knowledge vast, and their wealth unparalleled. Atlantis was the jewel of the ocean, a utopia unlike any other. But as the myth goes, Atlantis met its end in a single cataclysmic event. In the blink of an eye, the entire city sank beneath the waves, vanishing from the earth forever. The mighty civilization was lost, swallowed by the ocean, its golden streets and towering structures lost to time. Atlantis became a symbol not just of a city, but of the fragility of human achievement, of the hubris that can come with power, and of the inevitable decline of even the greatest civilizations. The story of Atlantis, passed down through the ages, has been a source of both fascination and caution. For centuries, people have searched for the lost city, hoping to uncover its secrets, to understand what made it so powerful and what led to its downfall. Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, was one of the first to document the myth, describing Atlantis as an ideal society that was ultimately undone by its own pride and moral decay. The people of Atlantis became corrupted by their own power, forgetting the humility and wisdom that had once guided them, and they paid the price. In the world of science, we understand that civilizations, like individuals, are subject to the forces of nature and time. Over the course of human history, we have witnessed the rise and fall of many great empires: Rome, Egypt, the Mayans, and the Aztecs, to name just a few. The fall of these civilizations can often be traced to a combination of factors: environmental changes, resource depletion, warfare, social unrest, and internal corruption. The myth of Atlantis speaks to these same themes, the dangers of pride, of failing to recognize the limits of one's power, and of ignoring the natural forces that shape our world. Atlantis, in its perfect form, represents the peak of human achievement, but it also embodies the pitfalls of excess and the disregard for the balance of nature. The myth serves as a warning about the dangers of overreach, the belief that we are invincible, that we can conquer the forces of nature and time without consequence. It reminds us that no civilization, no matter how advanced or powerful, can escape the rhythms of the earth. The world is constantly changing, and those who fail to adapt to these changes, who believe they can control everything, may find themselves swept away by forces beyond their comprehension. In the scientific view, the collapse of a civilization is often a result of environmental factors. In the case of Atlantis, the city's downfall was said to have been caused by a series of natural disasters, including earthquakes and floods. But the ultimate cause of its fall was not just the destruction of the physical city, it was the moral and spiritual decay of its people, who lost their sense of connection to the earth and to each other. In this sense, the myth of Atlantis is a reminder that true greatness is not just about power or wealth, but about maintaining harmony with the world around us. As you reflect on the fall of Atlantis, consider the civilizations of the past and the lessons they can teach us. What are the forces, both natural and societal, that shape our world today? Are we, like the Atlanteans, at risk of becoming too prideful, too disconnected from the rhythms of the earth? Let this thought settle gently within you. The rise and fall of Atlantis reminds us that balance is key, that our greatest achievements must be rooted in wisdom, humility, and respect for the natural world. Imagine the soft strains of music, a melody so pure, so filled with emotion, that it seems to reach into your very soul. This is the music of Orpheus, the legendary poet and musician of Greek myth. Orpheus had the power to charm even the wildest of creatures, to make trees sway and stones weep with his music. His greatest test came when he descended into the underworld, seeking to bring his wife, Eurydice, back from death. The gods of the underworld were moved by his song, allowing him to take her back, but with one condition. He must not look back at her until they reach the surface. The myth of Orpheus and Eurydice is a story of love, loss, and the consequences of doubt. Orpheus, consumed by his love and fear, turned to look at Eurydice, breaking the rule and losing her forever. This myth has captivated the hearts of many for centuries, exploring the themes of trust, the power of music, and the fragility of life. From a scientific perspective, music has a profound impact on the human brain. Studies have shown that music can trigger emotions, enhance memory, and even alter brain chemistry. Orpheus's ability to charm the gods with his music speaks to the universal truth that music is not just a form of entertainment, but a powerful force that connects us to deeper aspects of ourselves. The brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, when we listen to music we love, which is why it often moves us so profoundly. Orpheus's music could transcend the boundaries of life and death, much as music today still transcends the boundaries of time and space. Music is a universal language, one that speaks to the deepest parts of our being, often before we even fully understand the emotions we're feeling. As you think of Orpheus, let the image of his music carry you gently into rest. What melodies move you in this life? What songs speak to the depths of your soul? Like Orpheus, we all have a song within us, soft and steady, ready to carry us through both light and darkness. In the ancient world, there was the story of Pandora, the first woman created by the gods, she was given a box or jar and was told never to open it. But curiosity, that age-old companion of humanity, got the better of Pandora. She opened the box, and with it came all the evils of the world, sickness, sorrow, and despair. However, at the very bottom of the box there was one last thing: hope. Even in the darkest of times, hope remained. Pandora's box speaks to the nature of human curiosity and the consequences of uncovering what is hidden. It reminds us that some knowledge brings with it unintended consequences, but also that hope is something that cannot be taken away, no matter how great the darkness. In a scientific sense, curiosity is an essential part of human nature. It is what drives us to explore, to seek knowledge, to discover the unknown. While the consequences of our curiosity can sometimes be troubling, consider the environmental changes brought about by unchecked human progress. Our curiosity also leads us to solutions, to understanding, to hope. The pursuit of knowledge, while sometimes fraught with challenges, also holds the potential to bring light into the darkest places. Hope, as the last thing left in Pandora's box, represents our ability to keep moving forward even when faced with adversity. In times of hardship, hope is the gentle force that helps us rise again. It is the belief that things will get better even when the path is unclear. As you reflect on Pandora's story, think of the mysteries in your own life, what you've uncovered, what you've yet to discover. Remember that even when things seem dark, there is always hope. It remains, hidden like the last treasure in Pandora's box, waiting for the right moment to fill you with peace and light. In the heat of battle, there stands Achilles, the mightiest of the Greek warriors in the Iliad. His strength was unmatched, and his valor was legendary. But beneath his invincible exterior, Achilles carried a secret, a vulnerability. When he was dipped into the river Styx as a child, his mother Thetis held him by the heel, making him invulnerable everywhere except for that one small spot. And so, it was with an arrow to the heel that Achilles was struck down, proving that even the greatest heroes have their weaknesses. The myth of Achilles is a poignant reminder that even the strongest among us have vulnerabilities. No one is immune to injury or failure, no matter how invincible they may appear. In the world of science, we understand that all living things have weaknesses, whether physical or emotional. Even the strongest human bodies can break down, whether from illness, injury, or aging. Achilles' story speaks to the inevitability of our fragility and the importance of recognizing our limits. In psychological terms, this myth also touches on the concept of the Achilles heel as a metaphor for our most sensitive points, those aspects of ourselves that, when exposed, can cause us the most pain. It is often the parts of us that we feel most insecure about that others will use against us, and this is true both in battle and in the emotional struggles of life. But the vulnerability of Achilles does not diminish his heroism. In fact, it makes him all the more human. His strength is not in his invulnerability, but in his willingness to fight, to love, and to face the world despite his weaknesses. We too have the power to be heroes, not by pretending to be invincible, but by embracing our vulnerabilities and using them as a source of strength. As you think of Achilles, remember that your own vulnerabilities do not define you. Just as he rose above his, so too can you find strength in the acceptance of your own humanity. There is beauty in being whole, both in strength and in weakness, for it is this balance that makes us truly powerful. The earth is quiet in the dead of winter, the snow gently blanketing the ground as if to cradle the world in stillness. But even in this quiet, there is an undercurrent of longing, of the earth waiting for the return of spring, of the plants waiting for the touch of warmth. This story mirrors the myth of Demeter and Persephone, where Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, mourned the loss of her daughter Persephone, who was taken to the underworld. As Demeter's grief spread, the earth grew barren and cold. But when Persephone was returned to her, the earth came alive again, spring blossomed, and life returned. The myth of Demeter and Persephone's reunion speaks to the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, a rhythm that is reflected in nature and in our own lives. It is a story of transformation, of sorrow followed by joy, of waiting for the return of light after a long, dark time. In the natural world, this rhythm is reflected in the changing of the seasons. Just as Demeter's grief leads to the winter, so too does her joy bring forth the spring. From a scientific perspective, the change in seasons is driven by the Earth's tilt on its axis, which causes different parts of the planet to receive varying amounts of sunlight throughout the year. This shift gives rise to the cycles of growth, decay, and renewal. It is nature's constant dance of change, reminding us that no matter how harsh the winter may seem, spring will always come again. As you reflect on Demeter and Persephone's reunion, think of the seasons within your own life. Even in times of darkness, know that there will always be a time for renewal. Allow yourself to rest, knowing that just like the earth, you too are in constant cycles of transformation, waiting, growing, and ultimately blooming. Imagine standing before the Hydra, a serpent-like creature with many heads, each one growing back as soon as it is cut off. This was one of Hercules' 12 labors, a task that seemed impossible, yet Hercules faced it with determination. With each head that was cut, 2 more grew in its place, but Hercules found a solution. He burned the stumps of each head after cutting them off, preventing them from regenerating, and ultimately defeated the creature. The Hydra, with its many heads, symbolizes the challenges that seem endless, the problems that only seem to multiply as soon as we try to solve them. It speaks to the frustration of feeling overwhelmed, as though every effort to overcome one obstacle only brings more. Yet Hercules' triumph over the Hydra teaches us that even the most daunting challenges can be faced with patience, creativity, and persistence. In the world of science, we encounter the metaphor of the Hydra in many forms. Environmental issues, for example, often seem like problems that cannot be solved. Deforestation, pollution, climate change, all of these challenges seem to multiply the more we attempt to address them. But just as Hercules found a way to stop the Hydra's regeneration, so too can we find solutions to our most persistent problems if we approach them with careful thought, collaboration, and perseverance. As you think of the Hydra, remember that even the most persistent problems can be faced and overcome. There is no challenge so great that it cannot be met with wisdom and steady determination. Like Hercules, you too have the strength to face whatever comes your way. Let this thought settle gently within you, bringing peace in knowing that you are capable of overcoming any challenge. Imagine a bird, majestic and radiant, its feathers glowing with the colors of the sunrise. This is the phoenix, a legendary creature that dies in flames and is reborn from its ashes. The phoenix symbolizes the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, a constant reminder that in the end, all things must transform to make way for new life. According to myth, the phoenix lives for hundreds of years, and when it feels its time has come, it ignites itself in flames, only to rise again from its ashes, reborn. The story of the phoenix is one of eternal renewal, and in the world of science, we find similar cycles of creation and destruction in the natural world. Take, for instance, the life cycle of stars. Stars like the phoenix are born, live and die, and their deaths give birth to new elements, new stars, and even new planets. When a star exhausts its fuel, it undergoes a dramatic transformation, sometimes exploding in a supernova, scattering its material across the universe. This material, made of atoms, eventually forms new stars, planets, and even life. The phoenix also reflects the ways in which life on Earth is renewed through cycles, whether it is the cycle of the seasons, the life cycles of plants and animals, or the way ecosystems regenerate after destruction. Nature has an inherent ability to renew itself, to find a way to begin anew, even after it appears to have ended. This cycle of destruction and rebirth is not a sign of failure, but a necessary process for the continuation of life. In a more personal sense, we experience our own cycles of renewal, whether it's through the phases of grief, the transformation of relationships, or the way we grow and change over time. Each ending in our lives makes way for new beginnings. Just as the phoenix rises from its ashes, so too do we find strength in moments of transformation, learning and growing from the experiences that once seemed like endings. As you reflect on the phoenix, think about your own cycles of growth and renewal. What parts of yourself have you let go of to make room for something new? And what beauty lies in the ashes of what has passed, ready to give rise to something more vibrant? Know that, like the phoenix, you too are always capable of rising anew, with every experience adding to your eternal cycle of becoming. Now, picture the labyrinth, an intricate maze of stone and shadow, winding through the heart of an ancient kingdom. At the center of this labyrinth lurked a terrifying creature, the Minotaur, a half-man, half-bull beast that consumed those who dared to enter. The labyrinth was built to trap this monster, but its presence was also a reminder of the darkness that can reside within us all. The hero Theseus, armed with courage and a sword, entered the labyrinth with the intent to defeat the Minotaur and free the land from its terror. The myth of the Minotaur speaks to the idea of confronting our inner demons, those parts of ourselves that we try to hide, deny, or ignore. These inner beasts are often manifestations of our fears, our unresolved emotions, or aspects of our personality that we feel ashamed of. Just as Theseus had to face the Minotaur head-on, we too must confront these darker aspects of ourselves in order to grow and heal. From a psychological perspective, the Minotaur is a symbol of the parts of ourselves we struggle to understand or accept. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, spoke of the shadow self, those aspects of our personality that we repress, yet which influence our behavior and our interactions with the world. The labyrinth in this myth can be seen as a metaphor for the complex, often confusing journey of self-awareness. To understand ourselves fully, we must navigate the maze of our emotions, our experiences, and our history in order to face the parts of us that are hidden. Science, too, teaches us that facing our fears and our weaknesses is essential for growth. Neuroscience has shown that when we confront difficult emotions or experiences, rather than avoiding or repressing them, we can develop greater emotional resilience and emotional intelligence. Just as Theseus defeated the Minotaur, we too can face our fears and transform them into sources of strength. As you think of Theseus, let the image of the labyrinth fade into your thoughts. What are the Minotaurs in your own life? The fears, the struggles, the parts of you that you may wish to avoid? Know that in confronting these aspects with compassion and courage, you're not only freeing yourself, but you're also stepping into your own power, gaining greater understanding of your true self. Now, imagine yourself on a ship sailing through a calm, endless sea. The waves lap gently at the sides, and the breeze whispers softly in your ears. But then, on the horizon, you hear a sound, a beautiful, haunting melody. At first, it is soft, distant, almost imperceptible, but as the song grows louder, you feel yourself drawn toward it, compelled by its rhythm and beauty. The song of the sirens, creatures of myth, who lure sailors to their doom with their enchanting voices, promises bliss and freedom, but leads only to danger. The myth of the sirens speaks to the dangers of temptation, the way our desires can pull us toward things that seem beautiful or rewarding, but which ultimately lead us astray. In the Odyssey, the hero Odysseus faces the temptation of the sirens. Forewarned by the sorceress Circe, he orders his men to block their ears with wax while he ties himself to the mast of the ship. This clever solution allowed Odysseus to hear the siren's song without being drawn into their deadly trap. From a scientific perspective, the siren's song is a metaphor for the way our brain processes pleasure and reward. Our brains are hardwired to seek out experiences that bring us immediate gratification, whether it's through food, entertainment, or even social validation. These immediate rewards release dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, which encourages us to continue pursuing those rewards. However, just like the sirens, these fleeting pleasures can sometimes lead to negative consequences, whether in terms of health, relationships, or mental well-being. Understanding the power of temptation and the way our brains respond to it can help us navigate the pull of desires that may not serve our long-term happiness. Just as Odysseus used his wits to avoid the siren's call, we too can use mindfulness, self-awareness, and discipline to avoid falling into the traps of fleeting temptations. It's not about denying ourselves pleasure, but about finding balance, recognizing when the pursuit of instant gratification is leading us away from what truly fulfills us. As you think of the siren's song, reflect on the desires that pull at you. What are the things in your life that promise instant joy but leave you feeling empty afterward? How can you, like Odysseus, navigate the temptations that come your way, finding your true course in the quiet steadiness of your own values and goals? Let these thoughts wash over you like the sea, bringing clarity and calm with each passing wave. Imagine a figure, once beautiful, now transformed into something terrifying. A woman with snakes for hair, whose gaze can turn anyone to stone. This is Medusa, a woman cursed by the gods, whose appearance was both a punishment and a power. Medusa's story is one of tragedy and transformation. Once a mortal beauty, she was transformed into a monster by the goddess Athena after being violated by Poseidon in Athena's temple. Medusa's transformation was a response to the cruelty she suffered, and yet it turned her into something feared by all. The myth of Medusa speaks to the idea of transformation, how trauma, pain, and injustice can change a person. It also explores the complexity of human nature, the way our beauty, vulnerability, and strength are intertwined. Medusa is not just a monster. She is a symbol of how we too can be shaped by the experiences we endure. She represents the darker aspects of transformation, the way trauma can alter us, yet also empower us. From a scientific perspective, trauma and life experiences have a profound impact on our mental and emotional development. Psychological studies have shown that people who experience trauma often undergo significant changes in their worldview, in their emotional responses, and in their relationships with others. These changes, while sometimes painful, can also lead to greater emotional resilience and the development of new strengths. Just as Medusa's transformation gave her a terrifying power, so too can our struggles lead to personal growth and strength. Yet, transformation is not always a linear journey. Just as Medusa's transformation was both a punishment and a power, we too experience changes that are often dual in nature. They may bring both pain and strength, both darkness and light. As you reflect on Medusa, think about the ways in which you have transformed throughout your life. What experiences have shaped you, and how have they altered the way you see the world? Remember that transformation, though often painful, is a powerful force. Like Medusa, we too can find strength in our changes, using them to create new paths for ourselves. Imagine standing before a task so vast, so seemingly impossible, that it feels as though it could never be completed. This is the challenge that Hercules, the greatest of the Greek heroes, faced when he was tasked with completing the 12 labours. Each labour was more difficult than the last, and each one pushed Hercules to his physical and mental limits. From slaying the Nemean lion to capturing the golden hind of Artemis, Hercules faced challenges that seemed insurmountable. The 12 labours of Hercules are a symbol of the difficult, often overwhelming tasks that we all face in life. Whether they are personal challenges, professional goals, or internal struggles, there are times when we feel as though the burdens of life are too much to bear. Yet Hercules' story teaches us that even the most difficult challenges can be overcome with patience, determination, and resilience. He did not face his labours alone. He was aided by his wits, his strength, and sometimes by the help of others. From a psychological perspective, the labours of Hercules are a metaphor for the obstacles we encounter in our personal growth. Each labour represents a challenge, whether it is overcoming fear, mastering a skill, or confronting our own weaknesses. The path to overcoming these challenges is rarely easy. It requires us to dig deep into our inner reserves of strength and courage. Science tells us that resilience is one of the key factors that determines how we cope with adversity. People who are resilient are better able to face difficult situations, adapt to change, and grow from their experiences. Hercules, despite facing seemingly impossible tasks, demonstrates that resilience is not about being invincible, but about continuing to move forward, even when the path is hard. As you think of Hercules and his 12 labours, reflect on the challenges you have faced in your own life. What tasks seemed impossible, and how did you find the strength to face them? Remember that, like Hercules, you too have the strength to overcome any obstacle. Even the most daunting of challenges can be met with perseverance, wisdom, and patience. Imagine the twisting, endless corridors of a labyrinth, stone walls winding in every direction, turning and bending like the paths of life itself. At the centre of this maze there lurks the terrifying Minotaur, a creature of both man and beast waiting to consume anyone who dares enter. This is the challenge faced by Theseus, the hero of Greek mythology. Armed with courage, wits, and the help of Ariadne's golden thread, Theseus ventured into the labyrinth to confront the beast and save the Athenians from the terror that had long haunted them. The labyrinth is a powerful symbol. It represents the complexities of life, the winding paths we all must navigate, and the challenges we must face along the way. Sometimes we may feel lost in the maze of our own lives, unsure of which direction to take. But just as Theseus used Ariadne's thread to guide him through the labyrinth, so too can we find guidance in our own lives through wisdom, patience, and the support of those who care for us. From a psychological perspective, the labyrinth represents the process of self-discovery. The twists and turns mirror the complexities of our inner selves, and the journey through it reflects our attempts to understand who we are. Just as Theseus faced the Minotaur, we must confront the beasts within ourselves, our fears, doubts, and insecurities. Facing these challenges head-on is part of what leads to personal growth and transformation. In science, the concept of the labyrinth can also be seen in the brain. The brain's neural networks are complex and intricate, with pathways connecting different regions to help us navigate the world around us. In the same way, when we face challenges, our brains work to find the best possible solutions, constantly adapting and changing. Just as Theseus found his way through the labyrinth, we too are constantly learning to navigate the complexities of life with each new experience. As you reflect on the labyrinth, think of the times when you felt lost or uncertain. What threads, whether they are wisdom, love, or support, have helped guide you through? Just as Theseus found his way out, so too can you find your path, even through the most winding and intricate of life's challenges. Picture a time long ago when humanity was without fire, living in darkness and cold. The gods, in their infinite wisdom, had kept this powerful gift to themselves, leaving humans in ignorance. But Prometheus, the Titan, defied Zeus and stole fire from the gods, bringing it to humanity. With this gift, humans could cook food, warm themselves, and create. But for his actions, Prometheus was punished, bound to a rock where an eagle would feast on his liver each day, only for it to regenerate each night. His story is one of sacrifice, rebellion, and the sharing of knowledge. Prometheus's gift to humanity was fire, but it also represented something far more profound: knowledge. In many ways, fire symbolizes enlightenment, the light of understanding that pushes away the darkness of ignorance. Prometheus gave humanity the means to survive, to thrive, and to evolve. The myth of Prometheus is often seen as a symbol of the pursuit of knowledge, of reaching beyond the limitations set by others, and of making sacrifices for the greater good. In a scientific sense, fire is a powerful force, one that revolutionized human civilization. The ability to control fire allowed early humans to cook food, stay warm in cold climates, and protect themselves from predators. It also led to the development of metallurgy, the creation of tools, and eventually the advancement of technology that shaped the modern world. But beyond its practical uses, fire represents the transformative power of knowledge, of human ingenuity, and of our ability to harness the natural world. Prometheus's story also speaks to the price of knowledge. Just as Prometheus suffered for sharing fire with humanity, there is often a cost to enlightenment. The pursuit of knowledge can lead to challenges, sacrifices, and even pain, but it also opens up new possibilities, new ways of thinking, and new opportunities for growth. In this way, Prometheus's defiance of Zeus and his gift of fire can be seen as a metaphor for the courage it takes to question the status quo and push the boundaries of what is known. As you think of Prometheus, reflect on the gifts of knowledge and understanding in your own life. What fires have been kindled within you? What sacrifices have you made in the pursuit of wisdom or growth? Like Prometheus, you too carry the power of transformation, capable of igniting change and lighting the way for others. Now, imagine a vast city, the towering walls of Troy stretching into the sky, its people proud and strong, confident in their invincibility. For 10 years, the Trojans held out against the Greeks, who sought to conquer the city. But in the end, it was not brute force that won the war. It was cunning. The Greeks, unable to breach Troy's walls, devised a clever plan. They built a giant wooden horse, hollowed out to conceal soldiers inside. The Trojans, believing the horse to be a gift of peace, brought it into their city. That night, the Greek soldiers emerged, opened the gates, and Troy fell. The myth of the Trojan horse speaks to the dangers of pride and overconfidence. The Trojans believed they were safe, that they had outsmarted the Greeks, but their arrogance led them to overlook the one weakness in their defenses. Pride can blind us to danger, make us believe that we are untouchable, and prevent us from seeing the truth until it is too late. From a psychological perspective, the Trojan horse is a metaphor for the blind spots we all have in our lives. We may be so focused on one aspect of a problem, or so confident in our own abilities, that we fail to see the larger picture. This is often referred to as cognitive bias in psychology, the tendency to think in ways that reinforce our existing beliefs, rather than challenging them or considering alternative perspectives. In science, we see the consequences of overconfidence in the way humans interact with nature. Environmental degradation, climate change, and resource depletion are all examples of how the overconfidence of humanity, believing that we can conquer and control nature, has led to unintended consequences. The story of the Trojan horse serves as a reminder that no matter how powerful or secure we feel, we must always remain humble and vigilant. As you reflect on the Trojan War, think of the areas of your life where pride might be blinding you to potential dangers. What blind spots might you have? How can you approach life with greater humility and awareness? Like the Trojans, we must always remain cautious, for pride can be a silent enemy that leads to our downfall. In the ancient Greek world, the Fates were three goddesses who controlled the destinies of all mortals. They spun the threads of life, measured their length, and ultimately cut them when the time had come. The Fates were impartial, weaving each life with equal care regardless of the person's station, wealth, or power. The threads they spun were both a gift and a reminder of the inevitable, life's transience and the certainty of death. The myth of the Fates speaks to the inevitability of time and the cycles that govern life. The threads they spun represented the lives of all beings, and once a thread was cut, it marked the end of that life. Yet, even in their control, the Fates allowed each person to live fully within their thread, to weave their own story while they still had time. From a scientific perspective, the concept of the Fates can be understood through the lens of biology and the passage of time. Each living being's life is governed by the natural processes of birth, growth, aging, and death. In this sense, our lives are also threads in the great tapestry of existence. Just as the Fates control the span of life, so too do the biological processes of our cells, DNA, and genetics determine the course of our existence. While we may not control when our thread will be cut, we can still influence the way we live, the stories we write, and the choices we make. The myth of the Fates also reminds us that time is precious. The threads of life are finite, and each moment is an opportunity to shape our story. In acknowledging the limitations of time, we can learn to live more fully, embracing the present and making the most of the time we have. As you reflect on the Fates, think of the thread of your own life. What choices are you making to weave a story that aligns with your deepest values? How can you honor the preciousness of time, knowing that each thread is unique and fleeting? The Fates remind us that we're both part of something greater and responsible for how we choose to live within that greater whole. Now, imagine a boy with wings made of feathers and wax, soaring high above the earth. This is Icarus, the son of Daedalus, who was imprisoned in a labyrinth on the island of Crete. Daedalus, a master craftsman, created wings for himself and his son so that they could escape. He warned Icarus not to fly too close to the sun, as the heat would melt the wax holding his wings together, but Icarus, intoxicated by the freedom of flight, soared higher and higher until the sun's heat melted his wings and he fell into the sea. The myth of Icarus is often seen as a cautionary tale about ambition and hubris, the desire to rise above one's limits and the consequences of overreaching. Icarus was not content with the freedom his father gave him. He wanted more, to fly higher and closer to the sun. His downfall came not from his ambition itself, but from his inability to heed the warning of balance. From a psychological perspective, Icarus's story reflects the dangers of unchecked ambition. While ambition can drive us to achieve great things, it can also lead to reckless decisions when we ignore our limitations. The pursuit of success without consideration of the consequences can often lead to failure, as Icarus learned too late. In science, we see this phenomenon in the way humans have altered the environment. While innovation and ambition have led to incredible advancements, the consequences of pushing beyond natural boundaries, such as environmental destruction, climate change, and resource depletion, show that unchecked ambition can have unintended, often irreversible effects. As you think of Icarus, reflect on the balance between ambition and humility in your own life. What dreams are you chasing, and how can you ensure that your pursuit does not lead you to overreach? Like Icarus, we all have the potential to soar, but we must also be mindful of the boundaries that keep us safe. Imagine a quiet room, bathed in the soft light of a flickering candle. In this room, a woman weaves a tapestry, her fingers moving gracefully over the threads. She is Arachne, a mortal woman whose skill in weaving surpassed even that of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and craft. Proud of her talents, Arachne boasted that her work was superior to that of the gods, a claim that could not go unchallenged. In response, Athena, in her divine wisdom, disguised herself and challenged Arachne to a contest. Both women wove intricate tapestries, but when Arachne's work proved to be flawless, Athena, in a fit of jealousy, transformed her into a spider, forever bound to weave her webs. Arachne's myth speaks to the complexities of talent, pride, and the consequences of hubris. Her exceptional skill was a gift, but it was also her undoing. The story reminds us that talent, while valuable, must be approached with humility. Just as Arachne's pride led to her downfall, we too must recognize that our gifts are not ours to boast about, but to use for the greater good. From a scientific perspective, the myth of Arachne also touches on the idea of skill development. Talent is not an innate, unchangeable trait, but rather a result of learning, practice, and dedication. Studies in neuroplasticity show that the brain is capable of remarkable growth and adaptation. Just as Arachne's talent was honed through practice, so too can our abilities be improved over time. But with this ability comes the responsibility to use it wisely. Arachne's transformation into a spider also symbolizes the way in which our talents, if unchecked, can become a burden rather than a blessing. The act of weaving, once a symbol of creation and beauty, became her eternal punishment, a cycle of work that could never be broken. This reflects the danger of becoming consumed by one's talents to the point where they no longer serve us, but instead imprison us. As you reflect on Arachne, consider your own talents. What are the gifts you have, and how can you use them with humility and purpose? Are there areas where pride has influenced your actions? Like Arachne, We must remember that talent is not a measure of superiority, but of the potential to contribute to the world around us. Let this thought guide you gently toward recognizing the true value of your abilities and the responsibility that comes with them. Picture the sky, dark and brooding, as Perseus stands before the goddess Athena, preparing for his most daunting task, to slay Medusa, the Gorgon whose gaze can turn anyone to stone. Armed with a reflective shield, a sword of adamant and the guidance of the gods, Perseus faces the terrifying creature, knowing that he must conquer her to save his kingdom and his loved ones. With wisdom and courage, he uses the shield to view Medusa's reflection, avoiding direct eye contact and striking her down. The myth of Perseus teaches us about courage, wisdom, and the ability to overcome our fears by facing them in indirect ways. Perseus does not defeat Medusa by attacking her directly with brute force, but by using the tools provided to him, tools that allow him to navigate the challenge without succumbing to the danger. This speaks to the way in which we must often approach our own fears and obstacles in life. Direct confrontation with our fears can sometimes paralyze us, but by approaching them in a measured, thoughtful way, we can find the strength to overcome them. From a psychological perspective, Perseus' journey is a powerful metaphor for how we cope with fear and anxiety. In cognitive behavioral therapy, one method used to manage anxiety is known as exposure therapy, where individuals are gradually exposed to the things they fear in a controlled and safe manner. Just as Perseus used the shield to face Medusa indirectly, this method allows us to confront our fears without overwhelming ourselves. Over time, facing fears in this way can reduce their power and help us reclaim our sense of control. The shield too serves as a powerful symbol of the importance of perspective. In life, we often face challenges that seem insurmountable, but sometimes the key to overcoming them lies in how we view the situation. Just as Perseus used the shield to reflect Medusa's gaze, we can find strength in shifting our perspective, viewing our obstacles from a different angle. This shift in perspective can transform a source of fear into an opportunity for growth. As you reflect on Perseus, think of the challenges you face in your own life. What fears or obstacles seem overwhelming, and how might you approach them with wisdom, courage, and a new perspective? Like Perseus, you too have the strength to face even the greatest challenges, and with patience, reflection, and the right tools, you can conquer them. Imagine, deep within the dark recesses of the world, there are three sisters, the Gorgons, Medusa, Steno, and Euryale, each of them more terrifying than the last. With serpents for hair and eyes that turn anyone who gazes into them into stone, these creatures represent the primal fear that dwells within us all. While Medusa is the most well-known of the Gorgons, each of the sisters holds power over life and death, and their very presence is a reminder of the dangers of fear, how it can paralyze us, turn us into stone, and hold us captive. In the myth, the Gorgons are symbols of fear itself, of the unknown and the uncontrollable. Medusa, with her ability to petrify with a single glance, represents the way in which fear can seize us, stopping us in our tracks and preventing us from moving forward. Fear, like the gaze of the Gorgon, can freeze us, making us feel powerless. But just as Perseus was able to overcome Medusa by avoiding direct contact and using his shield, so too can we learn to navigate our own fears in ways that allow us to move forward without being consumed by them. From a scientific standpoint, the Gorgons reflect the physiological response we have to fear. When we experience fear, our bodies activate the fight or flight response, releasing hormones such as adrenaline that prepare us to either confront the threat or flee from it. This response is vital for survival, but when fear becomes overwhelming, it can freeze us, preventing us from acting or thinking clearly. Overcoming this paralysis often requires learning how to manage and cope with fear in healthy ways, such as through mindfulness, relaxation techniques, or cognitive restructuring. In a broader sense, the Gorgon myth also speaks to the cultural and societal fears that we encounter. Just as the Gorgons were feared by the ancient Greeks, so too do we face societal pressures and expectations that can paralyze us. Expectations about success, appearance, and behavior. These fears can prevent us from expressing our true selves or from pursuing our dreams, but like Perseus, we have the power to face these fears and break free from their grasp. As you reflect on the Gorgons, consider the fears that hold you back in your own life. What are the stone-cold fears that keep you from moving forward, and how can you, like Perseus, face them with courage, wisdom, and perspective? Remember that, while fear may seem powerful, it is often the key to transformation when faced with understanding and the right tools. Picture a serene, quiet forest, where the air is filled with the sound of birds singing and the rustle of leaves. In this peaceful setting, there is the story of Echo, a beautiful nymph who was cursed by Hera to only repeat the last word spoken to her. One day, Echo encountered Narcissus, a handsome young man who was so entranced by his own reflection in the water that he could not look away. Echo, unable to speak her own words, could only repeat what Narcissus said, and in her sorrow, she became a mere echo, fading into the world. Narcissus too fell victim to his own vanity. Enchanted by his reflection, he could not tear himself away from the beauty he saw in the water. In his obsession, he wasted away, unable to live without the image of himself. This myth speaks to the dangers of self-obsession, of becoming so captivated by one's own image, one's own desires, that we lose sight of the world around us and the people who truly matter. From a psychological perspective, the myth of Narcissus speaks to the dangers of narcissism, an excessive focus on oneself at the expense of others. Narcissistic tendencies can lead to relationships that are shallow or one-sided, and they often prevent individuals from forming meaningful, healthy connections. Just as Narcissus could not love anyone other than himself, those with narcissistic traits may struggle to truly empathize with others, seeing the world only through their own lens. In modern science, the concept of narcissism has been studied extensively. Researchers have shown that while some degree of self-love is healthy and necessary for mental well-being, excessive self-obsession can lead to destructive behavior, emotional instability, and a lack of empathy. Narcissism is often linked to insecurity, a deep-seated fear of not being enough, which the individual tries to mask by constantly seeking validation. As you think of Echo and Narcissus, reflect on the balance between self-love and the love for others. How can you ensure that you don't become too absorbed in your own reflection, losing sight of the world and relationships around you? Like Echo, we must learn to speak our own words, to be ourselves without losing the connection to the people and the world that are truly important. Imagine a lush, verdant garden stretching beyond the eye, where the air is rich with the scent of blossoms and the distant hum of life. In the heart of this serene landscape, 9 sisters gather, each with a presence that glows like the evening star, each a goddess in her own right, each dedicated to a particular form of human creativity. These are the Muses, daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory. They embody the very essence of human expression, inspiring poets, musicians, dancers, and artists alike. They are the patrons of creation, the goddesses who walk beside all who seek to bring forth beauty into the world. Each muse reigns over a different domain. Calliope, the eldest, inspires epic poetry, while Clio oversees history. Euterpe breathes life into music, Melpomene governs tragedy, and Thalia brings forth comedy. There is Erato, who guides the creation of lyrical poetry, Polyhymnia, the muse of sacred music and dance, Terpsichore, the muse of dance and song, Urania, who governs astronomy, and finally the youngest, Psyche, who presides over the soul's inner creativity, tapping into the heart's deepest desires and dreams. The muses are not simply symbols of inspiration, they are the wellspring from which human creativity flows. Throughout Greek mythology, they were called upon by artists, writers, and performers to bring their work to life. The myth of the muses serves as a reminder that creativity is not born from the individual alone. It is a gift that flows from a higher source. The muses are the intermediaries between humanity and the divine, providing the spark that turns fleeting thoughts into timeless works of art. In ancient Greece, artists would invoke the muses before embarking on any great creation. The muses were seen as not just divine patrons, but as active participants in the process of creation. They were believed to whisper into the ears of the artist, offering guidance, inspiration, and even correction. The act of creating art was thus seen as a collaboration between the human and the divine, a partnership that transcended the individual ego and placed the artist in service of something greater than themselves. But the muses are also deeply symbolic. They represent the aspects of human creativity that are both mysterious and essential. They embody the impulse to create, the spark of imagination that can turn a simple thought into a masterpiece. In this way, the muses are a reminder that creativity is not a linear process. It is fluid, sometimes chaotic, and always unpredictable. Just as the muses each inspire different forms of creativity, they also remind us that creativity itself is multifaceted. It does not belong to any one person or medium, it belongs to all of humanity. From a scientific standpoint, creativity is often viewed as the process of combining previously unconnected ideas to create something new. The brain is a complex organ, and creativity involves a network of regions working in harmony, including the prefrontal cortex, the temporal lobes, and the default mode network. The default mode network, which is most active when we're not focused on specific tasks, has been linked to daydreaming and the generation of ideas. This network is often activated when we're not consciously trying to solve a problem, which is why many people experience sudden moments of inspiration during times of rest, such as in the shower or just before sleep. The concept of flow, a state of deep immersion in an activity where time seems to dissolve, is another important aspect of creativity. Flow, as described by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, occurs when a person is fully engaged in a task, balancing the challenge of the activity with their own skill set. This state of effortless concentration often leads to high levels of creative output. In this sense, creativity can be seen as a dynamic state of mind, one that is nourished by both mental effort and relaxation, a dance between the conscious and unconscious. Creativity is also linked to divergent thinking, the ability to come up with a wide variety of solutions to a problem. This kind of thinking is essential for artistic endeavours, where the goal is often not to find the right answer, but to explore a multitude of possibilities. It's through divergent thinking that artists can break free from conventional ideas and explore new territories, much like how the muses pushed artists to venture beyond their limits and express themselves in bold, new ways. Studies have also shown that certain environmental factors can enhance creativity. For instance, exposure to nature has been linked to improved cognitive function and creativity. In the same way that the muses are often depicted as inhabiting lush, natural spaces, our surroundings play a significant role in fostering creativity. Natural environments are calming and rejuvenating, providing the mental space needed for creative ideas to take root. This aligns with the ancient idea that inspiration comes from a connection to something greater, something outside of oneself, whether it's nature, the divine, or the collective unconscious. Despite their divine nature, the muses are not simply passive sources of inspiration. They also represent the struggles that come with creativity. The act of creation is often fraught with challenges. Artists and creators are frequently confronted with doubts, frustration, and moments of failure. In the myth of the muses, this is reflected in the way they're depicted as guiding artists through moments of difficulty. Creativity does not come easily, and the muses often represent the tension between inspiration and the work required to bring an idea to fruition. The story of the creation of the Iliad and the Odyssey is a prime example of this. Homer, the legendary poet, was said to have invoked the muses before he began his epic works. It is said that the muses guided him through the creative process, allowing him to channel the stories of the Trojan War and the journey of Odysseus into verses that would endure for centuries. But this myth also hints at the struggle of creation. The muses, while offering their gifts of inspiration, were also a reminder that the act of creating art was not easy. Homer, like all artists, had to wrestle with the ideas, face the blank page, and endure moments of uncertainty. This aligns with what we know about the creative process today. Creativity is often a tumultuous journey, one that requires perseverance and the ability to embrace failure. Studies on creative people have shown that those who achieve the greatest success in their fields often experience a high level of rejection and struggle. It's the willingness to keep pushing forward despite setbacks that allows creativity to flourish. The muses in this sense symbolize the highs and lows of the artistic journey, those moments of inspiration followed by the hard work needed to bring the vision to life. In the modern world, the influence of the muses is still felt in the work of artists, writers, musicians, and creators of all kinds. While the ancient Greeks no longer invoke the muses in the same way, their myth continues to serve as a powerful metaphor for the creative process. The muses remind us that creativity is not simply a skill, it is a gift that requires nurturing, discipline, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. Whether you are a painter, a poet, a scientist, or a musician, the muses continue to play a role in your work. They may not appear in the form of divine beings, but their essence is still present in the inspiration that strikes at unexpected moments. Artists and creators often describe their process as one of channeling something beyond themselves, an energy, an idea, or a force that guides their work. This too mirrors the ancient belief in the muses as intermediaries between the divine and the mortal world. In the realm of modern psychology, creativity is also seen as a collaborative process, not just between the artist and their muse, but between the artist and the world around them. Inspiration is sparked by external experiences, whether it's a conversation with a friend, a walk through the park, or an unexpected encounter. The muses, in their eternal wisdom, remind us that creativity is not something that is isolated to the artist alone. It is a shared experience, a flow of ideas that moves between individuals and connects us all. The myth of Icarus, while tragic, is far from just a story about failure. It offers profound reflection on the human condition, our endless quest to achieve greatness, to transcend our limitations, and to reach for something greater than ourselves. In many ways, the flight of Icarus mirrors the ambition that resides in all of us. It is the part of us that longs to break free from the constraints of the world around us, to break through the clouds and soar to new heights. Yet, as the myth teaches, there is a delicate balance between striving for more and understanding our limits. The allure of freedom, embodied by Icarus's flight, is something we can all relate to. We live in a world where boundaries are constantly being tested, where individuals are encouraged to stretch beyond what is expected and achieve more. This desire to go beyond, to break free from the mundane and reach the extraordinary, is deeply embedded in the human spirit. Icarus's story speaks to this urge, the pull to break away from the ordinary, to defy expectations, and to experience life in all its vivid, limitless glory. The wings crafted by Daedalus symbolize the means by which we can achieve our dreams and desires. Yet the story also cautions that these wings, though powerful, are fragile. The wax that holds them together represents the impermanence of our endeavors, reminding us that every pursuit, no matter how noble or ambitious, carries inherent risks. At the heart of the myth is the tension between ambition and wisdom. Icarus's flight is not simply a tale of youthful recklessness, but a reminder that even the most talented and driven individuals must temper their ambitions with awareness. The sun that melts Icarus's wings serves as a metaphor for the forces we cannot control, external challenges, risks and consequences that can derail even the most well-intentioned efforts. When Icarus flies too close to the sun, he loses his grasp on the reality of his situation. This loss of control in the pursuit of something greater mirrors the moments when our desires blur our judgment. The Icarus myth also speaks to the paradox of ambition. The more we seek to transcend our limits, the more we confront our fragility. It is a powerful reminder that, no matter how hard we try, we cannot escape the natural forces that govern our lives. The myth underscores the importance of self-awareness. Ambition, when left unchecked, can blind us to our vulnerability. Icarus's fall represents the consequences of overextending ourselves, a poignant reminder that we must recognize the limits of our power and ability. True wisdom lies in understanding when to push forward and when to pause, when to climb higher and when to allow ourselves to rest. In our modern lives, the myth of Icarus resonates deeply. We live in an era of constant connectivity, achievement and competition. The pressure to succeed, to always be progressing and striving, is immense. The myth serves as a reminder that ambition should not come at the cost of well-being or self-reflection. In our relentless pursuit of success, we often lose sight of the importance of balance. Icarus's tragic end is a symbol of the burnout that can occur when we push too hard without considering the toll it takes on us. The story invites us to examine our own ambitions. Are we truly in control of our paths, or are we blinded by the allure of success, unaware of the dangers that lie ahead? The myth also encourages us to consider the role of mentorship in our lives. Daedalus, Icarus's father, serves as a figure of wisdom and experience. His warnings are not just instructions, they are born of hard-earned knowledge. Daedalus's understanding of the dangers of overambition reflects the role that experienced voices play in guiding us. In modern society, where self-made success is often glorified, we sometimes overlook the value of mentorship and guidance. We fail to heed the advice of those who have walked the path before us, believing that our ambition alone is enough to carry us to greatness. But like Icarus, we may find that our path is fraught with unseen dangers that could have been avoided if we had listened to those who have already navigated the challenges we face. Furthermore, the myth of Icarus explores the idea of human limitation in a broader existential sense. The tale is not just about the failure to achieve a lofty goal, it is also a story about accepting the limits of human nature. While Icarus's ambition is to escape his earthly confines and transcend the boundaries of mortality, his tragic fall reminds us that there are forces greater than ourselves. This struggle against the limitations of the human condition is universal, whether it's the limits of time, energy, or physical ability. We all must face the reality of our finite existence. The myth challenges us to reflect on our own understanding of limits. It invites us to consider what it means to truly live within our human boundaries, accepting that striving for greatness does not mean breaking free of those constraints, but finding a way to thrive within them. Icarus's myth can also be interpreted through the lens of modern psychology, where the concept of self-sabotage is well known. Individuals often set themselves up for failure by aiming too high, without considering the emotional or psychological toll it might take. The myth encapsulates this phenomenon, as Icarus's inability to listen to his father's advice leads to his own undoing. It serves as a reminder of the importance of emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize when our ambitions are veering too far into the realm of the unattainable. Icarus's flight toward the sun symbolizes the psychological trap of over-expectation, where the desire to achieve becomes disconnected from our emotional resilience. The impact of Icarus's story reaches beyond personal ambition. It has cultural and societal implications. In a world that often celebrates individual achievement, there is value in revisiting Icarus's fall. The myth suggests that while ambition is a driving force, it should not overshadow the importance of collective responsibility, balance, and understanding our shared limitations. The fall of Icarus is not just a personal tragedy, it is a collective one. The story urges us to approach our collective ambitions with humility, recognizing that no matter how high we reach, we are still part of a larger system that governs our fate. At its core, the myth of Icarus is about the dance between striving and surrender. It is about learning when to push forward and when to yield to the natural flow of life. There is wisdom in knowing that success is not solely defined by how high we climb, but by how we navigate the journey. Icarus's story is a reminder that the human spirit is not just about breaking boundaries, but about understanding and respecting the forces that shape our paths. It is in this balance that we find true success, one that is sustainable, grounded, and in tune with the rhythms of the world around us. As you reflect on the Muses, consider your own creative journey. What inspires you, and how do you channel that inspiration into your work? Like the Muses, creativity is not bound by any one form or medium. It resides within you, waiting to be awakened. Embrace the ebb and flow of inspiration, and allow yourself the space to create, knowing that the Muses are always with you, whispering their guidance in the quiet moments of reflection. Good night, dear traveller. May your sleep be peaceful, and may your dreams be filled with the soft glow of inspiration